Cram dystopian action, western tropes, comic book splash, and vampires into one stylized cocktail. That's 2011's Priest summed up nicely. And while sometimes it actually looks delicious, those manga-inspired opening credits, sweeping desert towns, cathedral strongholds full of uneasy citizenry, they do a solid job setting a visual mood. The biggest challenge? Keeping your attention on the screen rather than your phone. The art direction and production team gave us something cool to look at. Priest is almost always better in the background of your living room than when you're actually trying to watch it. But go past the surface and things start to fall apart. Boy, do they fall in familiar ways. The story, lifted loosely from a cult Korean comic, quickly morphs into a remix of The Searchers with holy warriors instead of cowboys. Paul Bettany is our exiled priest. He's forced to break sacred vows to rescue his niece, played by Lily Collins, from vampires. He's got a shotgun-slinging sheriff, Cam Gigandet, and a deadly priestess, Maggie Q, at his side. Karl Urban is Black Hat, a villain who looks like he should be menacing but mostly gets lost in B-movie excess. You've got your checklist: apocalyptic wasteland, church as dictatorship, soulless creatures, forbidden quest. It's all here and not for lack of ambition. The big problem? Practically everyone feels wasted. Bettany usually has range, but here his priest mostly trades personality for blank stares and monotone pronouncements. Maggie Q is fierce, sure, but she's handed almost no real dialogue. Karl Urban, normally a scene stealer, is buried so deep under villain cliches you want to toss him a shovel. Even Brad Dourif, legendary for making anything memorable, barely squeaks in with a blink, and you'll miss him cameo. The cast reads like a recipe for cult success, but the script shrinks everyone down to action figures. That's a shame, because the setup promises so much. You've got a theocracy manning walled cities, priests cast out like jaded war vets, a wild twist on vampire biology. Forget capes. These are hive monster drones, insect-like queens, hulking guardians with more in common with Resident Evil's monsters than Dracula, plus motorcycle chases across dust-blown ruins. The genre mixing is bold, but it never gels. The vampire mythology is actually pretty interesting, riffing on castes and biological hierarchies. The movie only ever dips its toes though, never diving in. Is the action enough to carry it? Maybe for genre diehards. Fight sequences flash by in slow motion glory. Weapons are as inventive as the sets. There's violence enough to push the boundaries of a PG-13 rating, though the editing snips away anything that might actually feel dangerous. After a couple rounds of futuristic bike chases and train fights, the adrenaline fizzles. What replaces it? A sense of repetition, entertainment by the numbers. Let's talk script. The dialogue is generic at best. Sometimes it crosses into unintentionally hilarious. The emotional weight, priest's tortured past, Lucy's secret parentage, priestess's loyalty conflicts, it's all set up and immediately dropped. Like nobody quite knew what to do with it. Attempts at meaningful themes show up. Faith versus dogma, church corruption, personal redemption. They're present, but they never feel earned. Instead of deep cuts into faith, guilt, authority, you get more of a light scratch. Here's what we're seeing. The movie is fast, slick, unafraid to go full throttle with its hybrid premise. But it's ultimately bland, almost allergic to character development or nuance. The acting veers into hammy territory. The cast feels wasted. The narrative jumps from one borrowed genre trope to another without taking the time to make any of them stick. For every cool manga-tinged moment in the prologue, there are 3 hollow exchanges and another stylish but empty set. If you love the comic, you're going to feel let down by how far the film strayed from its roots. It chops the lore for action, but leaves intrigue on the cutting room floor. Still, we'll give the movie this. It does not offend. Priest isn't an outright disaster, just a wasted opportunity. A film that coasts, never crashes, but also never climbs. If you're 12 and looking for loud, fast, supernatural mayhem with a paint-by-numbers story, it's not unwatchable. If you want something memorable, clever, emotionally engaging, Priest is best left in the wasteland. For the vampire genre fan, there is some unique stuff. The hive creatures, the priestly order, the refusal to romanticize the undead. But these sparks never ignite. The film is, plain and simple, meh. Watchable if you're desperate. Forgettable if you're not. So here's our bottom line. Priest gets a fair 2 out of 5 stars. Eye candy sets, some fun genre riffing, an action beat or two, none of it saves the film from feeling hollow. Worth a look if you're cataloging every vampire flick ever made. Otherwise, best treated as a streaming curiosity you'll only half remember. Want the full story breakdown? We've got a complete recap coming soon. Hit subscribe so you never miss when we dive deep into these films. YouTube has another review picked out for you, and trust us, you'll want to check it out. Until next time, movie lovers.
Where's my daughter?
Waiting for your decision.